Good morning to you. It is Tuesday, May 23rd, and the day that we welcome match play at the NCAA's. Cara Robinson alongside a pair of college golfers, Chris DeMarco and Blair O'Neill. Guys, I was hooked to the TV yesterday. I love this time of year. How cool is it to compete in the NCAA's as a college golfer?
It's fantastic. And,
it is.
And my Gators made a nice little move yesterday to get into that final eight.
You dressed the part today, Chris.
He's my little mascot today, sitting right next to me.
He's got his little friend, and so did my Sun Devils.
They did.
So Sparky is roaming the streets here in Golf Channel Studios. We're waiting for him to come into studio and make his big debut.
And they play each other today.
We're going to get onto that in just a minute. Yes, their schools are going to do battle today as we get to what is happening. The top 8 teams for the match play portion of the 36th edition of the NCAA Division I Women's Golf Championships have been set after the stroke play contest concluded yesterday. They now enter single elimination with both the quarters and semi-finals due to take place today. And yes, there it is. The second clash of the day sees number 3 seed Arizona State go up against the 6th seeded Florida, the alma mater of our own Blair O'Neill and Chris DeMarco. Guys, I've got to ask you, whose school is going to come out on top today?
Well, of course the Gators are.
Definitely Arizona State. Arizona State. Cara, come on.
I know. Okay, we got to put a friendly wager on this.
Chris and I are going to be going back and forth all day long. Or the next couple of days, it's going to be on.
And both teams had the 2 low rounds yesterday. Both of them were out of the top 8, played themselves into the top 8. So both of them are going with good, good form going in.
Okay, we got to put something on this.
Yes.
Okay. What are we going to do? You guys, let's have a little wager
on this.
Yeah. Tomorrow, everywhere she goes, if the Gators win, she's got to carry Albert with her everywhere she goes. And
that's not happening. That's not happening.
Carry him.
Chris,
okay.
I've got, like I said, Sparky's here somewhere. He's on my golf bag here in the studio, and we're finding him. And tomorrow, Chris is going to be carrying Sparky like his best friend he never had.
That's just not the way I see it.
I love this.
I just don't see it that way.
Well, he's hoping I just can't find Sparky, but we're going to find him, and he's coming to make an appearance.
Okay, the battle of the head covers, the battle of the mascots.
Yes.
You better root for your own girls' teams today.
All right,
we're pulling hard for them.
That'll happen on Morning Drive tomorrow, so you better tune in then. But also happening now, the 2017 NCAA Individual Women's Stroke Play Champion has been crowned. Despite being 4 back with 4 to play, senior Monica Vaughn backed up her win at the regionals to go on and win the individual title for ASU. But it came down to the final hole. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday. And we'll start with the overnight leader, Jennifer Kupcho, who's a sophomore competing as an individual from Wake Forest, Chris. And this was a birdie putt for her at 9.
Yeah, that was a nice aggressive stroke right there.
Yes.
She kind of walked that one in.
That got her to 2 under. She would be up by 4, Blair. Let's join her on the 17th. This is where it all went a little wrong.
Pressure shot here over the water. Watching it. She finds trouble. It hits that bank, bounces back into the water.
She was up by 3. That second shot didn't have enough, as you said. It was a game changer. That was for a double bogey, no good. She would make triple and drop back to 2
that's tough.
over par. 1 off the lead that's now held, Chris, by ASU's Monica Vaughn, who is putting for birdie. Doesn't know she has the lead.
She coaxes this one.
Yes, she does.
She wanted that one bad. She moved over and still fell.
Used the whole cup there.
Yep.
So could Kupcho, respond at 18? This her tee shot, Blair.
Yeah, tough shot here, misses it right. She's aiming to the right. She knows it's going, and it's found trouble. So
she was able to play.
Not good there, but she did make a par from there, correct?
Yep, she would get in at 2 over par, but you can see the look on her face. Amazingly, Chris, Monica Vaughn didn't even know that she had the lead. This would end up being her winning par putt on the 9th hole. Without this, there would have been a playoff.
And she go ahead. This is a good little tricky little
final putt here.
She knocks it right in.
Solid fist there. The team's going crazy, and I love this. I love these moments when you see, Monica Vaughn goes up and hugs Coach K and the team's there, and they're all excited.
Meanwhile, Leona Maguire, who had gone out in the morning wave and posted 2 over par, was suddenly looking at a potential playoff. It would have been the 3 of them, but that winning putt by Monica Vaughn secured the title. Blair, I know you've spoken to some of the Sun Devil family. They must be very happy this morning. How big a deal was this win for Monica?
Oh, this was huge. Monica playing out there in the individual, winning the individual championship is huge, but it's also, it helps the team. So obviously we know that playing in NCAAs is really a big deal. So she was excited, and she's a strong player. She fights. She's a fighter. She can be aggressive when she's out there on the golf course, and she can be scrappy when she needs to. So she really pulled it off, and that's a huge, huge win for herself and for the team.
It's a good thing, interesting point that you mentioned the team, Blair, because it's not just the fact that she's won the individual title, the team have also qualified for part of the top 8. How much will they lean on her now in this match play portion, Chris?
Well, that and also the pressure of the expectations. Now she is NCAA champion, so now she has to go out and prove herself because everybody expects her to go out there and win. So I love this format, though. I'm so excited. It's so neat to watch the match play part of that come to fruition, and anything can happen in this format. And I'll tell you, it's going to be exciting today.
Well, she certainly is a talented player with 13 rounds under par in her last 8 starts. So for more on who is now the women's national champion for 2017, let's welcome in our Golf Channel Academy lead coach and say good morning to Travis Fulton.
Hey, good morning, everyone. And yeah, very impressive stuff, Cara, by Monica Vaughn. Down the stretch, a lot of the ladies going backwards. Monica was going forward, and a big reason for that, she was making putts down the stretch. Difficult golf course, difficult conditions, really showed a lot of resolve to stay at it mentally and make some key putts down the stretch. I want to show you a couple things that I noticed last night in watching her play, in particularly her distance control. Really impressive stuff here. This was on the 6th hole, her 15th hole of the day. We're going to go ahead and roll the tape here and watch this speed here from about 12 feet. It's a good stroke, but it comes in and really just on the last rotation here. Watch this right over the edge. Perfect speed right in the center. Here's another one here for back-to-back birdies. That goes in on the top side. If that's hit too hard, that doesn't go in. So perfect speed makes the hole as big as possible. And then that one is for the national championship, and she knocks it right in the center. So 3 key clutch putts, and it's really this position that I want to point out to you this morning that I think we can learn from here. We call this the end point. You can see the putter head is accelerated here. It's past the ball, comes to a complete stop, and look at her head. It's still looking down, and the ball has rolled, say, 2 or 3 feet past the putter head. So I call this the end point. It's something that I work a lot on with students, and it gives the brain good feedback where you set up, you get the putter head to go to the end point here, it stops, and then you look. And of course, when the heat is on, we get nervous, we start to steer it a little bit, we see the putter head really lengthen out, the hands can come into play. So the pressure's on, get the feedback from the end point, hold that, and then look, it's a good cadence to get into, really impressive to watch down the stretch. I hit it, I hold the finish, and then I turn and look, and you can see that was good speed. So good or bad, hold the end point. Really impressive stuff from Monica. It takes a lot of trust. It builds a lot of confidence, and I think that bode very well for her en route to the national championship. Back to you, Car.
All right, Travis, thank you. Well, let's now turn our attention back to the ASU Florida matchup. Their quarterfinal clash begins in less than an hour off the 10th tee at Rich Harvest Farms. And while we can now welcome in UF's head coach, Emily Glazer is on the Golf Advisor phone line. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. You've got a big day ahead, obviously. You entered this week off the back of a great season, 6 wins in 12 events. How satisfying now is it to have qualified for the match play competition?
Yeah, it was definitely a goal of ours. So it's satisfying to be in and to have this opportunity. And I think probably even more so just because of the nature in which we went about it. We've had a little adversity this week and then kind of had to claw our way in yesterday. So I know the girls are excited.
Yeah, hey, Coach, this is Chris DeMarco. Congratulations being a big Gator fan. I'm excited for you guys. It was a little bit of adversity with with Sam Wagner having to be flown in from Jupiter. How do you think she handled everything?
Well, I think she did really well. I mean, she didn't use anything as an excuse, the fact that she didn't have a practice round and kind of came in at the last minute really late. And she's tough. That first day was just terrible conditions and she played awful but bounced back with 2 rounds that counted for us the last couple of days, which was huge on her part. So, we knew we were bringing in a good player, even though, she was at home. It's not like we were, bringing in a high handicapper to fill Marta's spot. But she's really done all we've asked of her this week. I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, it's been tremendous to watch. Obviously, the game changes now. How are you preparing for what's going to be match play against ASU this morning?
Yeah, I think we just talked a little bit about, we've really focused in stroke play on playing this golf course, us against the golf course, because it's very difficult and you got to be smart. So, things change a little bit today in the fact that you're playing a single opponent. And so you're still playing the golf course, obviously, but, the strategy might change depending on what your opponent's doing. So we just talked about, being aware of that. But also knowing that you're going to win some holes out here with pars, just due to the nature of the difficulty of the golf course.
Yeah, it has been playing incredibly tough all week. Well, we'll look forward to watching it. I know you've not got long till the girls tee off, so thank you very much for taking the time to call in this morning, and good luck today.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
That was Emily, head coach of UF. But let's get back to what else is happening. And after finally securing that elusive first win in his home state last year, Jordan Spieth returns this week to defend his title at the Dean & DeLuca Invitational. He arrives fresh off back-to-back missed cuts at the Players and the AT&T Byron Nelson, which is just the first time that he has exited early in consecutive starts since the 2015 FedEx Cup playoffs. Well, outside of the Masters tournament at Augusta National, this is the longest-running PGA Tour stop played at the same course. So as we say good morning to our travel expert, Matty G is with us. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history of Colonial Country Club?
Yeah, well, to your point, it goes back. It was originally built in 1936. A guy by the name of Marvin Leonard solicited some design input by John Berdemus and Perry Maxwell. Perry Maxwell, widely considered one of the great architects of the golden age of architecture, worked on Southern Hills, built Southern Hills, worked on Augusta National, Pine Valley, very famously built, helped Alistair McKenzie at Crystal Downs, Marion. Like you said, it's been hosting the tour event since 1946. Hosted the 1941 U.S. Open. Craig Wood won that. 1991 U.S. Women's Open. Meg Mallon won there. And then, of course, 2003, Annika, first woman to play in a PGA Tour event since 1946. Home of the Horrible Horseshoe, stretch of holes 3, 4, and 5. Chris, I know you know well. And then it's Hogan's Alley. He won there 5 times. Won there in 46 and 47, 52 and 53. And his last event, last PGA Tour win came in 1959. Tom Watson, by the way, his last win was also at Colonial in 1998. Peter Jacobsen said last week that this is his favorite golf course in Texas. Just one of the richest histories of any golf course in America. And
a very rich field that's arriving this week as well. The big names are stacked up. The course has undergone a pretty significant redesign in 2008. Phil Mickelson was fairly vocal about how his dislike for those changes. He's one of the guys back in the field this week. But out of all of them, who do you think this course is going to be most suited to?
Well, we saw last week at the Byron Nelson that the conditions were very firm, and obviously Colonial only being about 40 miles down the road, you're going to get the same thing there, which is exactly how this course is supposed to be played, firm and fast. And it's a refreshing for a lot of the guys that aren't quite the longest guys on tour. So this week, I love a guy like Zach Johnson, who's a past champion there, Graham McDowell. Both those guys work the ball right to left. They get the ball going down the fairways. Both great wedge players and great putters. And, you know, when you give these guys shorter irons into greens, they tend to rise to the top. You know, the Bombers don't necessarily have a huge advantage on this golf course, and a guy like Zach Johnson, who can kind of, you know, work his way around the golf course, you know, with a good little game plan, is right up his alley. And then I always like to ride the guy who's hot, and Billy Horschel. You know, after last week, he's a streaky player, and he likes to go. And you know, winning last week is huge for him. And you know, we saw it happen at the Tour Championship and the week before BMW and Tour Championship, him winning and then winning the FedEx Cup in 14. So he tends to ride these highs. I'm looking forward to him having a good week also.
Well, Billy's going to be joining us live on the show in just a minute, so don't go anywhere. We will be speaking to the latest winner on the PGA Tour. Interestingly, this week also, after the Dean & DeLuca Invitational, the top 50 in the official World Golf Ranking will qualify for the Open that will be played at Birkdale this July. Billy is currently just inside that number, so he would qualify as things currently stand. But let's find out what else is happening in golf as we say good morning to Lauren Thompson.
Good morning, Cara. Yeah, this week, though, on the PGA Tour Champions means a second straight major. This time, the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship in Washington, D.C., where Bernhard Langer, the second winningest player on the circuit, will have the chance to win back-to-back major titles. He tied Jack Nicklaus' record last week at the Regents Tradition. Now he's got the opportunity to top it. Also this week, another major champion in Ari Jutanugarn. She will defend her title from last year at the LPGA Volvic Championship. In 2016, she bettered Christina Kim by 5 strokes at the time, becoming the first in LPGA Tour history to earn her first 3 wins in consecutively scheduled events. And on the European Tour, it's the BMW PGA Championship being staged on the West Course at Wentworth Club. The 156-player field consists of 9 major champions with 15 titles between them, as well as 14 of the top 50 in the world and 6 of the top 10 in the season-long race to Dubai. So all of that we will keep you updated on throughout the week on Morning Drive, but big things to look forward to today as well. Also massive stories, though, to reflect on looking at the tee sheet today on Morning Drive. We're going to welcome welcome in the latest winner on the PGA Tour, your AT&T Byron Nelson champion, Billy Horschel. Cara was talking about this moments ago. He's also one of UF's Gator greats, so he and Chris DeMarco, they're going to have added bits on this week in collegiate golf, but other stories to get to with Billy for sure. Speaking of college golf, though, it's time to turn our attention to match play for the 2017 NCAA Division I Women's Golf Championships. And that format change that's happening today, it's on the minds of all the players and the coaches. So coming up, we're going to talk to the head coaches of both Ohio State University and the University of Southern California before they face off today. That's going to be interesting. Then we're going to get to the stage this week for the PGA Tour, Colonial Country Club and the 70th playing of the Dean and DeLuca Invitational. We're going to touch on the ties the place has with the late, great Ben Hogan as Travis Fulton. He's going to break down his 5 best lessons that will have you playing better golf. So I'm looking forward to that. Hope you are too. A big day ahead in Studio AP, and we're ready for it, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think Billy's got his Gator colors on as well?
Not today.
Not those, man.
Picking Florida, Billy Horschel. You played the homer.